Hey, Jason here. And so I'm trying something for the very first time. I'm actually streaming live on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. So let's go ahead and dig into today's topic. I want to talk about like how I live pain free. And one of the things that I started realizing is one, I be forgetting that I'm new to Africa, new to the continent. And so most of the people here don't know me and they've never really seen or heard of my story before. So a lot of people you're just seeing, oh, this American, he's now on the continent, he's living out here, and oh, he must be living this great, perfect life. And I can't show it to you here on YouTube, but if you're watching on TikTok, you should be able to let me know if you can see this picture that's to the side of me. And that's a picture of me. That was me in 2010. It's very hard to believe, but yes, that was me. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that person was not happy. He was not having fun. And he was not enjoying life at all. Actually, what most people didn't know at that time was I was actually at my most suicidal point. So just to give you a quick backstory of my life. I went to the military. I went at 18 years old. But then I went to the Iraq War. After the Iraq War, I had a bunch of injuries, and I was beaten up and mentally and physically. And so from that, I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues, but plus then I ended up having a spinal fusion. So even though I look like I'm in great shape and great health and everything, most people don't know I have 10 screws in my back. And like here in Joburg, where I'm at now, when it gets cold, those screws get cold and I be hurting, man. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. Like there's days where I still feel those things, but I don't have pain on a daily basis. Like if I'm overworking myself or if it's one of those days where it's like it's too cold, then I am experiencing pain. But on a day to day basis, I'm living a very pain free life. And most people don't understand why. And but if you've seen me before, you know like I don't use any prescription pills. I don't eat meat. I don't eat cheese. I don't drink soda. I only drink natural juice and water. And the reason being is I started doing research in 2015 when I actually left the United States with then at my time my late wife, uh, then at the time my late wife Cece. So we both ended up leaving the United States, and we, as you can see from the picture, we both were not in a healthy state, and so we was trying to figure out like, yo, how can we live longer? What can we do? And from that, we started researching, learning different things. Then we learned about plant-based eating lifestyle, and that's how we switched off eating animal products. Before then, I was eating just like any other person, whether it's South Africa, Colombia, Panama, or even in Botswana. I was eating the exact same. And so after I changed my eating lifestyle, I started doing research and started seeing like, what more have I been lied to about? And because I started seeing like, you can get protein from plants. That whole thing of you need meat for protein wasn't true. All protein actually come from plants. And then I started doing more research, and then somehow, well, not somehow, I know how. I ended up watching this documentary called The Great White Hype. And it was talking about marijuana, but talking about it from a perspective of how it could help you. And so I've always known people who smoked weed, had family that smoked weed. Just wasn't my thing. And then just like, I didn't see a benefit of it. Plus, I had planned on spending my whole life working in the federal government sector and then getting a pension that way. So you just can't do weed in that department. And since after that, after I had my spinal surgery, I ended up quitting my postal job at the post office. And I just realized, that wasn't my life. Like that working 20, 30 plus years for a corporation, yeah, it paid good, but I wanted my freedom much more. And not only that, my health was deteriorating to the point where any time that I had left, I really wanted as much of that time with Cece at the time. Because I didn't think I was going to still be alive, especially not here to 2023. I did not see myself living that long at all. And so with all those things coming up, my health was deteriorating. And so I ended up quitting that job. And so somehow, from watching this documentary, it started piquing my interest. And then and then from there, I started researching marijuana and really going deep into it and experimenting on myself. And from there, that's when I discovered about the endocannabinoid system, things like that, which I never heard, not in university, not in any from any health classes that I took, or from any doctors that I talked to. And so once I started learning about the endocannabinoid system, and pretty much all it is it's a set of cannabinoid receptors on our nerve endings. So it's part of our nervous system, meaning our body naturally produces forms of CBD and THC in very small amounts. And when I learned that, I started understanding and trying to figure out why is it so many people were getting so many good results from using marijuana medicinally. I'm not talking about recreation. I'm talking about from a medicinal standpoint. And what will make it to where it's this type of cure-all type thing. And so from that's when that plus researching more about the endocannabinoid system and testing on myself, I started realizing it's the nervous system. If it brings down the inflammation, if you're activating the right receptors, and the endocannabinoid receptor is one of those receptors. And so from there, I started going really deep off into it, and then I started thinking, okay, if this is the receptor that I need to remove inflammation from my body to help me heal, I started saying, how can I activate this receptor in the best way possible? So, and mind you, at this time, this is when marijuana was still considered, like crack cocaine. It wasn't where people were up front talking about it. Like you had to go find a book from a guy that knows a guy, and then, this person would send you a video that you can watch in private. So it wasn't just open information. Like it's not like now. Even if you go to some of the most restrictive places where marijuana isn't tolerated, you can still talk about it. Like I remember back then, you couldn't even talk about it. It was big fear because it was like, oh man, I felt like a drug dealer at that time, and literally I was just trying to heal myself. And so from all the research and testing, I started realizing the best way to actually take marijuana or use it to give you full benefits of the endocannabinoid system, it isn't by smoking it, it's actually by eating it. Now, if you've had the old school space brownies where they chopped it up and cooked it in there with it, that's disgusting. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Some of the things that I tried from some of the OG users out there, medicinal, I'm like, hey, they were way better than me. I wouldn't have done it. And so what I ended up doing was making canna oil. Now this is just coconut oil mixed with cannabis. Now this is what it actually looks like. There you go for TikTok. You see that beautiful green color because it gets all the chlorophyll out. And this is what it actually looks like. This one's a bar, but like this is a jug of it where you can just like spread it on toast and things like that. Or just take out like a tablespoon at a time and cook with it. And so the beautiful thing about this is, one, this base can be used for everything, such as shampoos, soaps, lotions, conditioners. Like whenever I want to make lotions with it, I just use some regular shea butter, just melt it down inside of a pot, just stir some of that in there to blend it up, and then just pour it back into a container, and then it just whips up and you can use it naturally. So one of the things that I learned about with actually using just the canna oil itself is like it's self-regulation, meaning one, you can't OD on it, which is one of the best things out there because I pushed it to the limit. Like when I tell you I tested it to the limit. And the beautiful thing about it is like the more cannabis you're actually using in this form, it actually activates those the endocannabinoid receptors more. So like if you're someone who's sick, it really promotes healing and fast. And one of the things, like if you're in the U.S., because I know here in South Africa is weird legislation here. It's medicinal marijuana is legal, but there's no really clear-cut way to say, hey, I'm a medicinal user here. But if you're in the U.S. and where it is legal in certain areas, the medicinal stuff you're buying is not at medicinal levels. And most people are not talking about that because you don't know the medicinal levels unless you've used it medicinally. And that's something like a government regulation and a lab, they can't tell you these things by oh, okay, these many chemicals, this and that. You have to go to that state of medicinal depending on how sick you are. For me, I was at death's door. So because I was knocking at death's door, I'm gonna tell you, like, I was using a lot. I was going through a 1 liter container of this probably 3 weeks to a month, depending on what month it was. Like that's how much I was using because I was cooking it and everything. I was making it into soaps. I was brushing my teeth with it. I was oil pulling with it. I had it to where I would just drop droplets in my water when I'm out drinking. Like I was using it for everything. But you got to remember, I had heart issues at the time. I couldn't walk in my left leg. I had severe anxiety and depression or PTSD from the war. Also, I couldn't breathe at night. This is one of the things most people don't, they find it hard to believe when they see me now. I couldn't breathe at night back then. So I used to have a CPAP machine that I would have to sleep with because my body couldn't produce oxygen on its own and I would stop breathing. And so I had all of those issues plus a whole lot of other things. Like I was taking, I think I had lost count I was taking over 40 pills a day. Like when you see these shows where it talks about how the United States is a prescription pill country, that's true, man. Like they will hand you a pill for everything before they try to really figure out what the problem is. So there was a lot of things that I had to overcome, and the person you see today, I couldn't even dream of being back then. Like back then, I was just hoping like, yo, if I can just get to about 400 pounds, cause I was well over 600 pounds, as you can see from the picture. But I was really just like, if I could get to about 400 pounds, and man, if I just didn't have to walk with this cane every time. Cause I used to have a wooden cane that I would walk with. My cousin Victor, rest in peace, he made it. It was a cane he made out of a tree, and he made it and gave it to me. And so it really meant something to me. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it meant more when I didn't have to use it anymore. Like it meant so much more to me. And this is why sometimes when people meet me in person, they don't understand how passionate I am about. I don't eat animals. I don't drink anymore. There's just certain things I don't do in my life anymore. And it's because when you've been on death's door and you were just begging for a way to actually live, like once you start living again, and like I'm living life, I'm thriving, I don't want to get anywhere near to those steps again. So like Henrietta says, 40 pills a day. Yes, exactly. And here's the truth. Like I know other veterans. I have people that I've known that's in the military, that's still in the military. And man, that's normal, man. People are taking anywhere from 20 to 40 pills a day, and there's just no help for them. And so this is why I feel like it's one of my duties. Like I have to share this information and share my story about why I do use marijuana and why do I consume it in large amounts and why I cook with it, drink with it, eat with it, use it as lotion and all these other things. Because if people like me, who you see, I'm just a regular, ordinary dude, like you see me working every day, you see me talking about trainings, reading books, but also I use marijuana on a daily basis. And that's gonna start changing the stigma that so many people have of like, oh, this is a drug. That was something that was shoved down our throats that had money tied to it. It had nothing to do with actually helping people or getting us to a better state of health. And I just want to really share my story and let people know like, yo, there's other things out here. And also let people know like, we're in the year 2023. I know I say that a lot, but sometimes people don't realize we're in the year 2023. If you don't want to smoke, don't smoke. Like there's plenty of days where I may not want to smoke anymore, but you know what? I might take some of this, make some popcorn with it. And then I'm feeling great, watching TV, laughing, have a nice little body high, no pain, and I'm just enjoying life. So that's one of the things I want to share too. Like, there's new technology out here. Like, don't feel like there's only one way to do everything, because some people may like smoking, some people may like eating it. I feel like here, like from what I've seen, most of the people who do use marijuana here between South Africa, and I'm not gonna say any other place because some of the other places are illegal. So, but here in South Africa, is most people prefer edibles here. The only reason most people don't do edibles enough or more consistent here is because people don't just tell them the truth about how strong it is. Because the people who are selling most of these products, they don't use marijuana. And I strongly believe you cannot sell any type of plant-based medicine to someone and you do not do it. That's like if someone is trying to sell you microdoses and they don't microdose. I microdose. I have a microdose business with my brother in Ocean Shores, Washington State, the Mycelium Maharishi. He literally just sent me some pictures of some of the shrooms that he just grown. I think he grew them 2 days ago, and it's a strain that we're coming out with our own brand called the Goat. Like, those are people that you buy from, people who use this stuff, people who are about that life. Like, you're not gonna buy music from someone who's not a musician. Just don't make sense. So like, I really want to share that out there because there's so much misinformation, especially with cannabis, from people who do not use cannabis. And let me just say this again, people who do not use cannabis do not need to be selling cannabis or recommending any form of cannabis to anyone. That's just facts. I use it on a daily basis. I can tell you, like, okay, if you're too high, what do you need to do? So here's just a free tip for you. If you catch yourself on an edible and you've eaten too much, eat some type of pepper. It can be a black pepper, bell pepper, or a red spicy pepper. Eat some type of pepper. The oils in the pepper will help neutralize some of the THC and help the CBD boost up. Now, here's another thing. If you're eating or smoking a lot of cannabis, avoid citrus fruits, especially mangoes. Citrus fruits and fruits that's high in vitamin C is going to spike up the THC. And the reason being is they acting on the same receptor in the endocannabinoid. And the reason why I know this is because I tested all of this stuff. So I'm telling you this is from experience because I've taken myself to the point of where I couldn't even move for hours because I really wanted to make sure, like, how do this stuff work? How well can people get from this? And I'm living proof. Let me see. I didn't start using marijuana until 2015. That was my first time ever. And it's 2023, so we're talking about 8 years later. 113 kilograms now from well over 300. Let's see. I can walk without a cane. I have full sensitivity back in my left knee, my left leg below the knee. I can do yoga, which was something they told me I could never do. I jump rope for exercise. When my doctor who did my spinal fusion, he told me I would never be able to jump again or I'll be paralyzed. Next goals that I'm reaching is I want to plan on doing a half marathon. I want to start back running again. And also, like, my anxiety and my depression, I can't say technically PTSD, even though it's PTSD. I'm doing good. Like, I'm literally in South Africa, Johannesburg, a huge city, and I'm thriving here. Like, I'm not having problems. And it's a difference, and I didn't realize the big difference. Let me see how I can say this without, what's the best way to say? So seeing some of my brothers, and these are like people that I actually grew up with from high school, well, middle school on, and we all went to the military together, and seeing the state of their health. The last time I was in Texas when I was finishing up the business with CC's passing, I was angry, yo. I'm gonna be real with you, I was angry. To see people you love and care about, and you start seeing how this system is just using them. It's taking away their youth. It's taking away their time with their family. And most importantly, it's taking away their health. And I just saw them and I could just see how sick they were. And I remember how I felt when I was at that level too. And to know where I'm at now, seeing it on the other side, like, it really hurt me, man. It really freaking hurt me. I'm not gonna lie, because when you see people you care about and they're just struggling, man. And it's not like they're struggling financially, but they're just struggling. They're tired. They're literally physically, they're tired of the pain that they're waking up with every day. They're tired of just the stress of life every day, and they don't know. And for some of them, they're not even able to look at this other side of the table where all of the answers to their solutions could be. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very, very vocal about I use marijuana, I use cannabis, I do it daily, I do psychedelics, because we need to hear the truth. With the social media platforms now, there's so much truth that can't just be hidden from us and taken from us anymore. And I have to do my part out here too and tell people the truth, man. Like, I can't just be sitting out here living this pain-free life and not letting people know what's out there. Because the sad truth is, the people who know me directly, even if they watch these videos, even though they see how I move around, how my health has improved so much, the odds of them changing their lifestyle and doing what I say do is pretty much slim to none. And the reason being is because psychologically, the people who are the closest to us, they have an image of who they think we are in their head. And so even though I may never be able to truly help them, I might be able to help your friends, help your family, because most of us will listen to third-party information and we will try whatever that person says without any hesitation. And this is why I'm sharing this information. This is why I'm so honest about how I used to feel and compared to how I feel now. And this is why I'm real big on talking about emotional intelligence and things like this. And then remember, like, one of my favorite quotes, and I believe this applies to every part of our lives, is the ignorant of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write. It will be those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I really believe that because I was the most ignorant person when it came to my health. I was the most ignorant person when it came to cannabis. And as soon as I unlearned all the things that I thought I knew about it and relearned the truth, it started helping my life. Like, even now, I've taken probably about, let me see if I can show you. Probably about, where's the camera? About that much. If you take that much all the way across, let me show you that much. I'm speaking to you coherent. I can do a video. I've been talking 23 minutes now. I can hold and complete sentence structures. Like, this shows you, like, cannabis isn't what you've been told it is. It's not this crazy drug that's going to make you go wild and all of this, and it's not going to really do much of a difference from you. Like, I'm going to just walk you through, like, this is some of the signs that are symptoms that people get from using canna oil. One, they usually get a lot of energy. And like, I see Paulie, he's in the chat. Like, he's still in here, if he can write what his experience was about it. One, most people just get a lot of energy and they just want to move around, go out and go for a walk. And from what I've figured out from this group of people who usually get that surge of energy, these are usually people who have a desire to be healthier. Maybe they have a weight loss goal they want to hit or something like that. And usually it's giving them the energy or what they want so they can get there. Second group of people, they get intense focused. So this is a lot to do with your creative minds, especially people who like to draw, make music, or read and things of that nature. So like, for me, there's times where I can go for hours of just being hyper focused, reading some subjects, breaking down some psychology books, redefining some words, and then I look up and like maybe 2 or 3 hours pass, and I'm just like, oh man, I've just been in the zone. So some people get into the zone. These are people who are usually really, really career driven, or they just have a strong goal that they want to hit. And especially when they're in the creative zone, that's really great for those people. Third group is usually people who get very relaxed. And so this group of people is usually people who are actually probably sick. So if you've never been sick. Like if you've never been just hurting on a daily basis, uh, it's draining. Like it drains your energy. So someone who's really sick and they're just in pain all day, the moment that their body just relaxes and they just chill out and they can just sit and relax for like and just sitting in I remember this when I was able to sit in one spot for 30 minutes for the first time. It was like tears falling down my eyes because I was so happy that I didn't have to move around all the time. Because just imagine there's 10 screws in my back, and each time you move a wrong way or you're sitting too long, each screw may cramp up in a totally different way. And so when I was finally able to just sit down for 30 minutes and not move, yo, I remember that day, man. It wasn't even the most. So funny story. It was an air chair we had. It's funny what we went through in Panama. So in Panama, in Central America, most of the furniture is just straight wood with cloth on it. So there's no cushions in it. And the people there are small people. They're more like indigenous people. So just imagine me, this big American black dude, 6 foot. I think at that time I was still about a good 300 pounds, maybe 400 pounds. And I'm trying to sit on this wooden furniture that's made for someone not even half my size, maybe a third of my size. It was so uncomfortable. And so we bought some the blow up air furniture. We had like air mattress that we would just lay out on the ground. We had air sofa, air chair, and they were horrible, horrible furniture. I don't recommend buying that at all. Don't do it. Just save the money. Just sitting on the ground is actually more comfortable long term. And so at that time, the chair was because our cat Boris had poked holes in all the furniture. So at that time, I was sitting on the chair, it was like half inflated, half on the ground. And I just realized I was there for like 30 minutes and I was in an awkward ass position, knowing I was going to be hurting if I tried to get up. And I didn't have pain. And I was like so happy, man. And me and Cece were just celebrating it. And I'm telling you, like, once you have a moment like that, and a lot of people don't understand like why I appreciate relaxing and chilling so much. It's because, yo, when you're in constant pain, man, it's no joke. It's the most tiring thing that I can only imagine next to maybe being a new mother. Like, I don't even know if anything can be more tiring than that, but being in constant pain, it becomes a job just to say ouch. Like, so many times you're hurting, you can't even say ouch. You just sit there and you're just like, oh shit. And you just go through your head. So like, I remember those days and I really feel for those people because look, there's remedies out here, man. And you don't have to take my word for value, but really listen to this point. Start doing your research on the endocannabinoid system. So I did research on it. I was studying different facilities that was in Israel, some facilities that was in Colorado that was working with epilepsy in children. And this is how I learned all of this research. I'm going to say do your own research, do your own due diligence. And I just wanted to leave that with you. And if you're in Joburg and if you want to know how you can start getting some cannabis oil, I got a few suppliers out here. Everything's made from me. I love this, man. This is so fun. And if you have any special issues or disorders that you want addressed, let me know because I can make special batches just for you. I'm not going to say, I don't know how safe it is to say on air here what all different ones I can make, but just hit me up in the comments or DM, and then we can talk about it, and then I can let you know what I can or can't do for you. And so, look, I'm Jay, and just remember, man, success is simple once you know how. Okay, cool.